Hi, students. I would like to talk to you about how we would be writing our essays outside of COVID times. Usually, students write their first draft by hand with a pencil in class. And then I collect the first draft and I can see your true level. I can see your true grammar knowledge, and I correct everything. And actually, I don't personally correct it. I give you suggestions on how to correct it. And then I return it to you, and you take draft one home and you type it. And your draft two is typed. And the way I correct it is by using a set of correction symbols. So I'm going to show you those correction symbols, and then I'm going to have you do a sentence correction activity to check yourself and see if you can catch real mistakes that other students have made. And although we are not writing any essays by hand, doing this kind of helps you to catch the mistakes that you would make at this level that you can find. There are many mistakes where the grammatical rule behind the mistake is complicated and it would be hard for you to find. But all of the mistakes I'm going to show you are things that you can catch when you check yourself. So when I always say check yourself, these are the mistakes you should check yourself for. So let me share the screen. These are editing symbols. And if you wrote a paper, I would use these symbols on your paper to help you check yourself. So for example, if you wrote a word and you misspelled it, I would write SP by it. So for example, I would take my pencil and I would write SP under the word that you wrote, okay? The next mistake is what's called subject-verb agreement, and you should have this document. I've put it for you on Blackboard. So suppose you write, and here it's really easy to see that there is a mistake where the subject, she, doesn't agree with the verb. So at this level, nobody is writing, she go to the store, of course. But sometimes you have a subject that is filled with many words, or there is a coordinating conjunction or some other words that are coming between the subject and the main verb. So a student somehow, because of the distance between the subject and the main verb, writes the wrong form. So you need to check yourself and ask, what is the subject of this sentence? Is it singular? Is it plural? Is it a he, she, it? Is it a they, right? And then make sure that the verb agrees. I'm going to clear this off. And as we go down, we have plural and singular. Perhaps you've written the singular form, but you should use plural. Perhaps you've written the plural form, but you should use singular. Sometimes this is just a matter of number. Other times this is a matter of countability. Oh, there's my cat. So sometimes that's a matter of countability, like you've written entertainments, but actually entertainment is uncountable. So it should be always in the singular form, right? So you'll have to ask yourself, is this countable or uncountable? I'm not sure. Let me look it up. Okay. The next one is word or sentence order. You wrote girl tall instead of tall girl. At this level, nobody's writing girl tall, of course. However, you might have a few words and you need to actually switch the order of the words in your writing. So usually I would write this like shape underneath something. And in this case, when I'm editing your essays, using Google Docs, I just kind of like give you the full sentence suggestion because there's no way to make a symbol like that. The next one is WF for word form, which means you have the correct word, but you've put it in the wrong form. So for example, maybe you wrote difference, but you should have written different. So what's the difference between difference and different? Well, difference is a noun and different is an adjective. So you should have used the adjective form instead of the noun form or something like that. So I'll put word form, and that will let you know to think about what the correct word should be. If it's a simple word that you can easily think of by yourself at this level, I just put WF. But if it's a word that I know it would be hard for you to like think of from your own mind, I'll tell you the correct word. The same with spelling mistakes. If it's something that I know you should know how to spell, I'll just put SP, but sometimes if it's an unusual word, I will give you a suggestion. WW means wrong word, and that is when you've just used the wrong word. And very often I'll give you the suggestion for the correct word. Tense. So you should be asking yourself what tense you should be using in each sentence or in a paragraph. If you're describing something that happened in the past, have you used the past tense for that? Are you mixing tenses when you're telling one story? Maybe you're giving a little summary of an anecdote, but you're mixing tenses. So I'll put tense, and you should be able to think about what tense you should be using. And then this little triangle is like insert, where sometimes I'll like make an insert and write a word that should go somewhere. Anyway, these are the symbols that I would be using if you were writing your papers by hand. And these are also the same things that I check for when I'm editing your papers on Google Docs. And instead, I might write WF, or I might write word form in the little comment instead of writing it underneath your mistake in your handwritten paper. So the difference is when you're typing online, you have tools within Google Docs, within Word programs, and you have Grammarly installed on your browser. So many of these small mistakes will be caught for you so that you're not even thinking about them. However, you should be thinking about them. You should be talking to yourself, doing like a mathematical calculation. What is the subject here? Is it a he, she, it, or is it a they? Okay, does this verb agree? What word form should I use here? Is this the adjective form? Am I using it correctly? You should be talking to yourself as you write and asking yourself these things. Also, you know how I say edit yourself, stop, take a break, even just for 5 minutes, go drink something, come back, sit down again, read with fresh eyes. These are the mistakes you should be checking yourself for when you read with fresh eyes, even if you have typed your paper. Now, I'd like you to take the other document that I've attached that has the sentences to correct, try to correct them. Some of the sentences have one mistake, some of them have multiple mistakes. Try to correct them using these symbols and see if you can catch all the mistakes. And some of them, there are multiple ways of possibly correcting. So we'll just see. And then we'll check those together in the next video. Thank you for watching.